HUNDHAUSEN. Stand on the hill legs.
Hello.
All right, we'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Paul Hundhausen. It's 26 CM 224 appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Hundhausen appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, that's ILEAHA, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. Just one moment. What is this? Okay. I can advise the court that the mailing address is correct and Mr. Hundhausen is eligible for SPD services.
Right, and waiving reading of the criminal complaint.
Yeah,
Any
thank you.
Sure. I'll make a finding of probable cause and or not guilty plea, state's position on bail.
State's requesting a signature bond along with the condition that defendant not possess any financial instruments unless they are in his own name.
No objection to the conditions or the signature bond. I would just add that there's nothing to indicate that Mr. Hundhausen wouldn't show up in court. Also, I would move to dismiss based on the fact there's no facts alleged in the complaint that Mr. Hundhausen knew that the credit card was stolen. If you look at the complaint, it doesn't even allege that the name was different or whatever. So we would move to dismiss.
Okay, any response, Attorney Smith?
If I could just have a moment to quickly review the complaint. So, Your Honor, it sounds like this was a case in which there was a dispute inside of a vehicle that caused that vehicle to crash in a parking lot. The victim in that instance, who was in that vehicle, had financial transaction cards stolen in the process. It was later used at a Quick Trip in Monona. There's also I believe there's information in the complaint regarding this, but there is security footage of a suspect in an associated vehicle registered to the defendant, and video depicting him going inside and purchasing cigarettes with that victim's card from that earlier accident or vehicle accident in which the victim said her cards were stolen. So I think there's enough for probable cause in the complaint.
Right, any response?
I mean, just him going into the store doesn't show that he knew that the card was stolen. I think that's what's at issue here.
All right, well, I think there's an inference that he should know that. The inference is that this is NR's card, would have NR's name, whatever that full name is, they're using initials, not Mr. Hundhausen's name. There's a reasonable inference that he would think that that's somebody else's card, not his, and there's no information to suggest he would have any reason to think that he was given permission to use that card. So for purposes of today, I'll deny the motion. I'll order the signature bond. I'll order that you not use or possess any financial instruments or documents that are not lawfully in your own name, and we'll be adjourned.
I'll say it this way, sir. Reply this way. Next is Jack Licht. Yeah, her.
Light?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Light. We probably need to know that.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Jack Light. It's 26 CF 211 appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Zaki Zahawi on behalf of Mr. Light. He's present before the court. He is in custody.
All right, and do you have a copy of the complaint?
We have received a copy of the complaint, Your Honor. I reviewed it with Mr. Light as well as his constitutional rights. His true name and date of birth do appear thereon. He pleads not guilty and denies any and all allegations, waives a formal reading of the complaint.
Right, and the address is the best place for him to get mail?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll make a finding of probable cause and are not guilty plea to the misdemeanor, state's position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Officer Devin Arbe. That's DEVAN. Last name is ARBAY. No contact with police officer Brian Bond. Brian, common spelling, last name is BOND. With the exception for each of those, if there is contact necessary in their official capacity as law enforcement officers. Also, no acts or threats of violence towards any law enforcement officers. No use or possession of alcohol. And a ban from bars, liquor stores, or any other place whose primary business is the sale of alcohol.
Okay, any objections?
No, Your Honor, we join in the signature bond and have no objection to the conditions.
Okay, I'll order a signature bond. Conditions will be a no contact direct or indirect with Officer Devin Arbe and Brian Bond, except as necessary in the ordinary course of their duties as law enforcement officers, that you not possess or consume alcohol, that you be banned from any bars, liquor stores, or taverns, or any other place whose primary purpose is the sale of alcohol. And I'll order that you not direct any acts of threats towards any law enforcement officers. He's entitled to a prelim in the next 20 days.
We'll waive that, you know.
Okay, if you want to hang on, the clerk will let you know what we've got for a status conference date.
Right now, I'm looking at March 23rd, 1:20.
I'm sorry, for a status conference or for a preliminary hearing date?
I'm sorry that you were waiving the time limits.
I'm waiving the time limits for the preliminary hearing, yes.
Yeah,
We set it
we
for status.
typically set those for a status conference, and then if you know you're gonna waive, you can file the waiver
Understood.
paperwork. If you're not, you can write and ask that it gets set for a preliminary hearing. But if you wanted to waive time limits and have it set for a prelim right away, we could do that. That's just not ordinarily what we do.
We'll do what we ordinarily do.
All right, appreciate it.
So that date is March 23rd, 1:20. Most people who have an attorney really don't even need to show up for those if their attorney is willing to send in what the commissioner has just gone over. So if you want to prelim to send something in.
Understood. And what time was that? 1:20? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll be adjourned.
Yeah, this way, sir. Next is Marcel SUBY.
We'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Marcel SUBY. It's 26 CF 207 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Suby appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilya Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We do not yet have a copy of the complaint. Is this a, okay.
Oh. While we're waiting for the complaint, do we know if he's going to be eligible for a public defender?
I don't have any information on that right now.
Okay, Mr. SUBY, is the 215 North Musket Ridge Drive in Sun Prairie a good address for mail? Okay. So should be getting copies of the complaint and the public defender info. So it sounds like they don't know if you're eligible for an attorney. If you can't hire one, give them a call to see if you're eligible. All right, now that you've got a copy of the complaint, are you waiving a formal reading?
Yes, thank you. And standing mute as to any misdemeanor charges.
All right, I'll make a finding of probable cause, enter not guilty plea to the misdemeanor in count 6. There is a public safety assessment report. It recommends a signature bond. What's the state's position on bail?
State's recommending a signature bond, no contact with the co-defendants. It's DERON, Goodall, and Tyrone Flowers. And no consumption or possession of controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
Any objections?
No objection. Your Honor knows that, I make the argument that controlled substances are already illegal. So I would object to that. But no objection to the signature bond or the other conditions here.
All right. I guess I don't see the harm one way or another. I think it's probably good to remind Mr. Suby that you can't possess controlled substances and that THC would be considered illegal. And especially given that's what's charged here, so you don't violate bail conditions and get arrested again. I'll order a signature bond. Condition will be that you not use or possess controlled substances, drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, and that you have no contact, direct or indirect, with Tyrone Flowers and DERON Goodall. Mr. Suby has the right to a preliminary hearing in the next 20 days.
Just one moment. We'll keep time limits. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Suby, it's not going to give you a lot of time to get a lawyer. If you can't hire one, make sure you call the public defender's office right away. All right, we are adjourned.
Good luck.
Okay, this way, sir. Next is Isaiah first. Hey, Mark.
Right, we'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Isaiah Marsh. It's 26 CF 213 appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
I actually moved somewhere else.
Okay, we'll get that fixed in just a second. Mr. Marsh appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. It's based on my information, Mr. Marsh is not eligible for public defender services. And we need to update the mailing address.
Okay, Mr. Marsh, where's a good place to get mail?
171 East Lincoln Street, Oregon, Wisconsin.
Their apartment number?
And ours might be #1, but it is just a duplex, so.
So on the booking sheet, it says 171 East Lincoln Street Lower. Does that sound right?
So that's probably #1.
Or is it just listed as lower?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay,
I'll keep lower on there and then Oregon 53575.
Yeah.
All
Our
right.
neighbors and I are good. We usually give each other our mail.
okay. Well, you could also sign up for text message reminders just to make sure you don't miss any court dates. I think you're gonna get your next court date before you leave here today. They've given you the public defender info. Sounds like you make too much money. And so if you can't hire an attorney on your own, you could apply for a county attorney. That's the middle option. Or you could reapply with the public defender. I'll make findings of probable cause. We'll get not guilty pleas entered to the misdemeanors. State's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $3,000, along with the conditions that he not operate a motor vehicle, not consume or possess alcohol, and not possess any dangerous weapons. I'll note in this case, what's being alleged is the defendant was at a .07 BAC, fled from law enforcement officers going approximately 140 miles an hour in a 70-mile-an-hour zone. Almost lost control of his vehicle while passing other cars, and eventually crashed into a pole. And he also had a firearm in the car. All this to say, he doesn't have failure to appear history that I'm aware of, but all this incredibly dangerous behavior, I think, warrants, or at least there's an argument to make that someone that flees and eludes from law enforcement will be reluctant to cooperate with the criminal process, absent some cash to incentivize them to do so. So I think cash is appropriate.
Just one moment.
Sure.
Let's go with that. I would say. One of the classes throughout the week.
Yeah, just
I see a name, College Street, and libraries. I have to go. I just did it right.
are you sure?
And my girlfriend goes to the same school.
Okay, so you're okay. Okay. No objection, I suppose, either to the cash bail or to the conditions set by the state. I would note that as Mr. Marsh points out, he is employed as a certified nursing assistant. He goes to school. His whole family, his whole life is here. He has an apartment with a security deposit of $2,000. He's lived here his whole life. So I think that, and I would also note that he's, to my knowledge, in the only case he's had, he's made every single court appearance. So his whole life is here. But that being said, I guess I don't object to what the state has proposed.
Okay, well, I think it is warranted. The sheer dangerousness of the driving behavior concerns me when you're eluding law enforcement and you're going 140 miles an hour, you're putting yourself at risk of serious injury or death. And if you're willing to do that, then I've got concerns about whether you're going to show up in court. Because whatever the reason was you were running, things are probably worse now because you're charged with a felony. And there is the potential for prison. I'll set $3,000 cash bail. I'm going to order that you not operate a motor vehicle. I think that's appropriate as well, given the driving behavior. I'll order that you not possess or consume any alcohol, and that you not use or possess dangerous weapons, as that's defined by the statutes. So that includes firearms, but it includes anything else that you can think of. It's if you're using it or intend to use it in a manner that's likely to cause death or great bodily harm to somebody else, then you can't possess that either. You do have the right to a preliminary hearing in 10 days.
Just one. So.
We will keep the time limits on the preliminary hearing.
Okay, and I think I heard Mr. Marsh ask if he could bail today. You can post the bail if you're able to, and you'll get released. I don't think there's anything else holding you other than this, but you got to pay the $3,000. All right, we are adjourned.
Good luck.
It was my service. Next is Darren Goodall. Darren Goodall. And Bill Baez.
Great, we'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Darren Goodall. That's 26 CF 206, 25 CF 2413, 25 CF 512, 24 CF 2984, 24 CF 2947, And then there's bail bond hearings in 24 CF 248 and 24 CF 247. Appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Goodall appears in custody with counsel Merle Jasti. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Do you have copies of all of the new complaints?
I have copies of all the complaints.
All right, and do we have a good address for Mr. Goodall?
The correct address should be 5550 Caddis Bend, Fitchburg, Wisconsin. I'm sorry, it's apartment 408.
And do you know the zip code there?
It's, I believe, on one of these complaints. It is 53711.
All right, and waiving a formal reading of each of the new criminal complaints.
Yes.
All right, well, note, I find probable cause in the newest case, that's 26 CF 206. Believe in my review, all the other cases actually were out on warrants, so probable cause has already been found. Looks like there's a PSA report. And it recommends a signature bond. And then there was a failure to appear in the two oldest cases back on February 7th of 2025. So we need to address bail there as well. What's the state's position on bail in each of the cases?
I'm going to start with each of the bail hearings. That is 24 CF 247 and 24 CF 248. I'll note the failure to appear, as the court mentioned, I believe, February 6th. I believe at that time in each of these cases, he had a $1,000 cash bail set.
It was 524 CF 247.
In that case, the state's recommending that bail be set at $1,500 in each of these cases, and the reinstatement of the non-monetary conditions. As to each of the initial appearances, in 24 CF 2947, the state's requesting $1,000 cash, no contact with Maritza E. That's MARITZA. Last initial E is in Edward. A ban from the 3800 block of Tribeca Drive, TRIBECA. This is 24 CF 2984. States again requesting $1,000 cash with these same conditions. Just a 25 CF 512. State is again requesting $1,000 cash, no contact with Maritza E. A ban from Tribeca Drive in Middleton. In 25 CF 2413. The state's requesting $1,000 in standard conditions. And I believe lastly, 26 CF 206. State's again requesting $1,000. No contact with the co-defendants in that matter. That's Tyrone Flowers and MARCEL SUBY. No use or possession of controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. Reason for the cash request, Your Honor, I understand I requested $1,000 a case. I understand that's not a small amount of money, but this will, when looking at all these cases, I believe Mr. Goodall has 7 open cases. He was out on a bench warrant. And I think what's most noteworthy, at least from the state's perspective, is how long he was out on that warrant and the return on warrant coming quite a bit later. So for those reasons, I think significant cash is appropriate, or rather that the $1,000 per case is appropriate.
And Attorney Justy.
I guess I'll start by addressing the oldest cases first. 24 CF 247, 500 cash was ordered back on March 13th, 24, and it was posted shortly thereafter. I'd ask that that cash just remain as is. I don't believe it's ever been forfeited, so we would ask for that amount to remain. 24 CF 248, on the same day, $1,000 cash was ordered. In that matter, we'd ask for that to remain the same as well. The 5 cases that we're making the initial appearance on today, obviously one of them, the allegations are from last week. The other cases, the allegations in 24 CF 2947 were from October 13th of 24. The next case was from November 7th of 24. And then we have a case from January of 25 in 25 CF 512. In a couple of those cases, I believe the state has asked that my client not have contact with a woman with the initials M.E. and a ban from her residence on the 3800 block of Tribeca. At the time those cases were issued, my client already had 2 children with M.E. and subsequently to that time, they've had a 3rd child that was born 2.5 months ago. So M.E. and Mr. Goodall have 3 common children together. Their ages are 6, 2, and 2.5 months. They reside primarily with M.E. at that address on the 3800 block of Tribeca. We're asking for that condition to be a no acts or threats of harm to M.E. and not to ban him from that block. Unless the DA's office has information that's more current than the last year, the last incident with her is alleged to have happened January 24th of 2025. So unless there's some indication that she is asking for a no contact with Mr. Goodall, I would ask for the condition to be imposed in the manner that we've suggested. They've certainly continued their relationship as evidenced by the birth of a child just 2.5 months ago. There have been no other incidents involving her in over a year, so I don't think a no contact is necessary at this point. In regards to the amount of the cash bails to be imposed in the new cases, I would ask for $500 cash on each case for a total of $2,500. I think that's the most that Mr. Goodall can reasonably come up with at this point. If you're to look at those cases, the underlying charges, aside from the domestic repeater enhancer, all the underlying charges are misdemeanors. And these are only felony matters because of the issuance of these felony bail jumping charges. The majority of Mr. Goodall's charges are bail jumping charges of one variety or another. He's 25 years old. He grew up in Madison. He graduated from La Follette in 2018. He's going to be residing with his parents at that address in Fitchburg that I provided. He's not currently employed. And we would ask for $2,500 collectively on those 5 cases we're making the initial appearance for.
Right, and I should check, the clerk wondered if there was potentially a victim on Zoom. If there's a victim for Mr. Goodall's cases who wanted to make a statement, I'm happy to hear them. If not, we'll hear any rebuttal from the state.
Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yes, can you identify yourself?
My name is Maritza Espinal.
All right, and what did you want to say about bail or bond conditions?
I was agreeing with the attorney. We did just have a child about 2.5 months ago, so we have been in contact and have had a relationship. And he does help with kids going to school, coming from school, and their bus stop is located on the block that they're asking him to be banned from, which wouldn't help in our case with our children.
Okay,
So
thank you,
I'm kind of
ma'am.
agreeing with what the attorney asked for.
Okay, Attorney Smith, any response?
Yeah, I'll just briefly note, and it's no secret, it's not the best position a prosecutor likes to be in, asking for a no contact when a victim is expressing their wish for contact. But I would just note, for the record at least, this defendant does have a history of cases with the same victim. I believe 3 separate cases, most of them in 2022. And now we have 3 new cases pending, all with the same victim. So on that grounds, I think the no contact is appropriate. Thank you.
Just a quick response to that. Obviously, we've heard from Emmy herself, the allegations that are involved in these cases. The first case involved basically a verbal altercation, alleged threat there, but no physical violence. The second matter involving Emmy dealt with the I guess destruction allegedly of 2 flat screen TVs, and then the last matter, there was an allegation of a broken vase, but none of these matters indicate that she was restrained or that she was battered or she was prevented from reporting any of these incidents to law enforcement. Hence, obviously, why they were reported and why these cases exist. But in the scheme of whether to order no contact with her, certainly don't think there's anything in the complaints that indicate that he poses some kind of risk to her at this point in time.
All right, well, there's clearly a need for cash bail. I think it needs to be pretty substantial. Mr. Goodall's been on a warrant for almost a year, picked up all sorts of other cases during that time. With respect to the no contacts, it's not the most serious domestic violence that I've seen. Obviously, it's on the lower end of the scale. It's concerning that there's been so many cases, but it's also in his favor that there hasn't been anything for over a year, and the victims making their wishes expressly known, and that they've been having contact. So I guess I'm going to decline to order the no contacts with Maritza E. I'll order a no acts or threats of violence in those cases, and I'll also not order the address ban. And maybe I'll just start and go through them as the prosecutor did for ease of the clerk here. In 24 CF 247, I'm going to set $1,000 cash bail. I think you're correct, Attorney Josti. The cash has not been forfeited, so I think there's 500 that applies to that. In 24 CF 248, I'm going to set $1,500 cash bail. There's $1,000 that I think still applies to that. The prior non-monetary conditions in those cases will remain. In 24 CF 2947, 24 CF 2984, and 25 CF 512, I will set $750 cash bail and the no acts or threats with Maritza E. In 25 CF 2413, I'll set $1,000 cash bail and the statutory conditions. And in 26 CF 206, I'll set $1,000 cash bail. No contact, direct or indirect, with Tyrone Flowers and Marcel SUBY, and that you not use or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. As to time limits for the preliminary hearing,
We can waive those.
okay, if you want to hang on, the clerk will let you know what we've got for a status date.
So my computer is feeling exceptionally slow this afternoon. Right now, I'm looking at March 23rd, 1:20.
That's fine.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Right this way, please.
Next is Dillon Black for bail bond hearing. Dillon Black. You stand with the witness.
We'll call the bail hearing for Dillon Black. It's 26 GF 37008 appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Black appears in custody alongside counsel Brittany Dickey.
All right, good afternoon. We don't have a criminal complaint. I don't know if they gave you a copy of the probable cause affidavit.
Yes, it's been received and I waived the reading.
Do we have a good address for Mr. Black?
The 246 US 714.
246 US Highway 14, Brooklyn, Wisconsin, 53521.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is he going to be eligible for a public defender?
We don't have a sheet for him, so I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay, so Mr. Black, they're going to get you the public defender info. If you can't hire an attorney on your own, you can contact the public defender's office to see if you're eligible. Attorney Smith, do you know why we don't have a complaint and if we're expecting one soon?
I believe we're waiting on additional information as far as the investigation, but beyond that, I don't have much more information as to why there's not a criminal complaint today.
Okay, and do you have any timetable as to when you expect to have the information to be able to make a charging decision?
The information I have from the reviewing prosecutor is to request 2 weeks for an out of custody IA date. And then what specifics I'd be arguing for bail from then.
Okay, and what's your position on bail?
State would be requesting a signature bond and no contact with child victim 1.
And are we able to use initials? I think their full name is listed in the publicly available
Yeah, the
cause affidavit.
initials are,
TDE.
that's correct.
All right, any objections?
No objection.
All right, order a signature bond condition will be a no contact direct or indirect with TDE. And do you know what we would have for an out of custody date in 2 or 3 weeks?
Right now, we're looking at February 16th, 8:30, Monday morning.
Okay, they're gonna give you that court notice. You'll need to show up then and you'll find out whether you're getting charged or not. We'll be adjourned.
Okay, let's wait for him. Next is Willie Fields. You stand up and yell at us.
We'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Willie Fields. It's 26 CF 204 appearances.
ADA Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Fields appears in custody alongside counsel Brittany Dickey. We have received the criminal complaint. The address is correct. We waive formal reading of the complaint. I have no indication whether or not Mr. Fields is public defender eligible or not. And we enter not guilty pleas on all misdemeanor counts.
Okay, Mr. Fields, the deputy's giving you the public defender info. If you can't hire an attorney on your own, give the public defender a call, see if you're eligible, okay?
Okay.
We'll make a finding of probable cause and are not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors, state's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $2,000, along with the conditions that he have no contact with Shirley MC. SHIRLEY. Also that he not consume or possess alcohol and not possess any dangerous weapons. I will note in support of the cash, this is the defendant's third open case involving the same victim since November of 2025. In this particular case, what's alleged is he makes a comment about the use of firearms. He is alleged to have committed the crimes in this case approximately 4 days after posting $1,000 cash. That was in 26 CF 176. In that case, he was again ordered to not have contact with the victim and not commit new crimes. Based on all that, the state feels higher cash bail is necessary.
And Attorney Dickey?
The allegations here do stem from an argument. It doesn't seem as though the allegations here are necessarily violent in nature in the sense that Mr. Fields laying any hands on the alleged victim here. Given that the only thing that makes this a felony is the felony bail jumps, a signature bond is appropriate for Mr. Fields and no objection to the non-monetary conditions of no contact.
All right, well, what's concerning is he wasn't even supposed to be in contact with this victim. It's been ordered multiple times. Once he made that promise, posting $1,000 cash bail, then obviously that's a factor in the bail statutes that the court can consider when determining whether cash is necessary to assure appearance in court. I think if this were an Act 3 eligible case, the state probably could be asking for a lot more cash bail than they've asked for to protect the public. I don't see a signature bond or amount lesser than what he just posted as being sufficient. I'm going to set $1,300 cash bail, order no contact, direct for indirect, but surely NC that he not possess or consume alcohol, and he not use or possess dangerous weapons as that's defined by the statutes. That's regardless of whether the victim is agreeable to contact. You just can't have contact. You got 3 cases now. All the cases require you to have no contact with this person. The only way that can be changed is if a judge changes that order. So you'd have to have your lawyer file a motion. And you're just going to keep getting in trouble, and things are going to keep getting worse if you have contact with this person, sir. We can get him a prelim though in the next 10 days if he wants.
We'll be waiving time limits.
Okay, we'll set it for a status conference and we'll be adjourned.
Next is Clay Rogers. Clay Rogers. It's time to yell at.
Hi, Mr. Rogers.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Clay Rogers. It's 26 CM 215 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Rogers appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Mr. Rogers is eligible for public defender services. And I don't know if I said this, I can advise the mailing address is correct.
Okay, thank you. We'll make a finding of a probable cause and or not guilty plea. What's the state's position on bail? Oh, and there is a public safety assessment recommending a signature bond. Attorney Smith?
State's recommending a signature bond and a ban from the 1000 block of West Badger Road in Madison. It's 53713.
Bless you.
No objection to the signature bond. However, we will be objecting to the geographical ban because that's where Mr. Rogers lives. So to ban him from that location, I think would honestly go against his appearance in court because he wouldn't be able to live at his home.
Okay, I just guess we should clarify. I think we were told the address at the Beacon was the correct address.
It's 1002 Badger Road, apartment 1.
Okay, any response from the state?
Nope.
Well, let me take a closer look at things. And have you heard specifically from the landlord or victim?
I'm receiving information from our crime response team that they've received information, or my office has received information from management or housing initiatives that the defendant is not a resident of that area and they want him to be banned from it. So I suppose, well, I'll leave it at that.
All right, any response, Ms. Anderson?
Just give me. We're having some disputed facts here, Your Honor. This is all the knowledge I have at the time.
All right, well, they are the victim. It sounds like they don't want Mr. Rogers back. They dispute that he has any legal right to be there to begin with. I'll order the signature bond with the ban from the 1000 block of West Badger Road. You certainly can have your lawyer file a motion to review that. And if you've got, you know, a lease or something, that might be useful information. But it sounds like the landlord or housing authority is saying they don't believe you have a valid right to be there. Okay, we are adjourned.
Good luck, Mr. Rogers.
Sir, next is Justin Gambetti. Mr. Gambetti, you stand and yell at us.
Well, the state of Wisconsin versus Justin Gambetti, it's 26 CM 211 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Gambetti appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. It looks like Mr. Gambetti is eligible for public defender services.
Right, I'll make findings of probable cause and are not guilty, please. And I believe we do have a victim on Zoom who wanted to make a statement. We would just need that person to unmute. If you could identify yourself. And there's a little audio icon on the lower left tab to unmute.
Okay.
Do you have devices
I
going
just
at the
wanted to
same
say
time,
that
perhaps?
there was some question about contact with us, and my wife and I are not opposed to Justin having contact in the future with us.
Okay, and I was talking over you there at the start, and maybe you identified yourself. It looks like on the screen you're identified as Jason Gambetti. Is that correct?
That is correct, Jason Gambetti.
All right, anything else that you wanted to say about the bail or the bond conditions?
I haven't heard him yet.
Okay, we'll hear from the state.
State's requesting a signature bond along with the conditions that the defendant not consume or possess alcohol and that he make no acts or threats of violence toward Linda G or Jason G. Linda is spelled with an I.
All right, any objections?
No objection, thank you.
All right, and I'll just turn back to Jason Gambetti. If those requested conditions are something you don't want me to order, let me know, but it seems like that's consistent with you and your wife wanting contact. You just can't direct any acts or threats of violence towards you, and also wouldn't be able to possess or consume alcohol, which I'm inclined to order, I guess, regardless of your position, since that's a bond condition in another case. But if there's anything else you wanted to add before I order the bail, let me know. If not, I'll
I have
proceed.
nothing else to add.
Okay, so I'll order a signature bond. Conditional will be that you not possess or consume any alcohol and that you direct no acts or threats of violence towards Linda and Jason G, and we'll be adjourned.
Do you have any questions? Number 7. ELEODORO Baez.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll just get the fix this one.
Thank you.
And I think you're gonna need to be consecutive. We've got a note that maybe some people on the live stream will need interpretation as well.
Voy a hacer la interpretación consecutivamente debido a que también hay personas asociadas con la víctima compareciendo por la transmisión en vivo.
All right, and I'll just swear in our interpreter, Fred Svensson. Do you swear or affirm that you will truly, accurately, completely, and impartially interpret the proceedings?
Y el intérprete va a prestar juramento que va a interpretar bien y completo este proceso. Yes, I do. Sí lo juro.
And just a reminder for counsel, since he's going to have to interpret consecutively, we need to talk in short sentences.
Y debido a que el intérprete necesita interpretar consecutivamente, pido a los abogados que hablen en frases cortas.
All right, we'll call the bail hearing for ELEODORO Baez.
Vamos a poner en el acta la audiencia de ELEODORO Baez.
That's 26 GF 37006.
El caso es 26 GF 37006.
Could I get the appearances?
¿Me pueden indicar las comparecencias?
Sam Smith for the state.
Sam Smith por el estado.
Mr. Baez appears in custody in person alongside counsel Brittany Dickey.
El señor Baez está presencialmente aquí en la audiencia, en el tribunal de la cárcel con la abogada Brittany Dickey.
All right, and we do not have a criminal complaint.
Y todavía no tenemos una denuncia criminal.
So we need to address bail under Rule 206.
Así que tenemos que determinar la fianza bajo regla 206.
Mr. Baez was arrested and probable cause was found for first-degree intentional homicide.
El señor Baez fue arrestado por motivo fundado por haber con la alegación de cometer un homicidio en el primer grado.
Attorney Dickey, have you received a copy of the probable cause affidavit?
Yes.
Abogada Dickey, ¿ha usted recibido una copia de la declaración de motivo fundado?
Yes.
Sí.
All right, and do you have a good mailing address for Mr. Baez?
¿Y tiene usted una dirección buena para el señor Baez?
There's not one listed.
No hay una dirección indicada.
Okay, and we can maybe come back to that.
Tal vez podemos volver a hablar de ese punto.
Is he going to be eligible for a public defender?
Él estará elegible para el defensor público.
We don't have a sheet for him, so I'm not
No
sure.
tenemos una hoja para él.
All right, so Mr. Baez, you're being handed the Spanish version of the public defender info.
Señor Baez, a usted le están entregando una hoja de información sobre el defensor público en español.
If you cannot hire an attorney on your own, give them a call to see if you're eligible for one.
Si usted no puede contratar un abogado bajo sus propios medios, entonces se puede comunicar con ellos a ver si le asignan uno.
These are extremely serious charges and you're going to want a lawyer to assist you.
Estos cargos son extremadamente graves, así que usted va a querer tener un abogado para representarle.
Attorney Smith, what's the status with getting a criminal complaint filed or a charging decision?
Señor Smith, ¿dónde queda el estado del caso acerca de cuándo se va a entablar los cargos o presentar una denuncia?
The state is requesting a bail hearing with a return to court date on January 29th, if the defendant posts.
El estado va a querer tener una audiencia sobre la fianza para volver a la corte el día 29 de enero si es que el acusado pague la fianza.
And so just to clarify, if he posts or doesn't post, do you want us to set dates on January 29th?
Para clarificarlo bien, si él paga la fianza o no lo paga, como sea, usted quiere programar la siguiente audiencia el 29 de enero.
That's correct.
Es correcto.
All right. And what is your position on bail?
¿Y qué será su posición sobre la fianza?
The state is requesting cash bail in the amount of $2 million.
El estado está pidiendo una cantidad de $2,000 como fianza de caución.
No contact with the co-defendant.
Ningún contacto con la coacusada.
Not possessing any dangerous weapons or ammunition.
No tener posesión de armas ni municiones peligrosas.
A condition that he is not to leave Dane County and not to be released without the surrender of any passports or travel documents.
Con la condición prohibiendo que se salga del condado de Dane y que entregue cualquier documento o papeleo de viajes, tal como un pasaporte, antes de salir.
I would also ask that he not be released unless it is I would ask for pretrial services.
Y que no sea permitido salir de la cárcel antes de registrarse con los servicios ante el juicio.
For the purposes of fitting him with a GPS device.
Para ser colocado un aparato GPS.
Also a requirement that he not be released unless he has housing verified in Dane County.
Y que no sea liberado de la cárcel menos que si él puede proporcionar pruebas de que él tiene una vivienda dentro del condado de Dane.
And that he be ordered to remain there under a 24-hour curfew except for court hearings or emergency medical care.
Y que sea exigido o ordenado que él permanezca en esa residencia las 24 horas del día, menos para venir y asistir a audiencias en el tribunal o para tratamiento de emergencia.
In support of the cash and conditions.
Para respaldar lo que pedimos para la fianza de caución y las condiciones.
The state will likely be charging Mr. Baez with first-degree intentional homicide for the shooting death of LSH.
Es probable que el Estado va a acusar al acusado por haber cometido un homicidio en el primer grado intencionalmente y que ha matado a una persona con iniciales LSH.
I'll note that the defendant moved to Madison from Florida in July 2025.
Se puede anotar también que el acusado se mudó de Florida para Madison en julio del 2025.
Any ties that he has to the community here are not long-standing.
Los lazos que él tiene con la comunidad no son de mucho tiempo.
He is a U.S. citizen, but is originally from Argentina.
Él es un ciudadano de los Estados Unidos, pero originalmente de Argentina.
There also is a confession that is captured on security video.
También existe una confesión por medio de un video de seguridad, de una cámara de seguridad.
There's additional video in which The defendant is seen walking to and from his residence with a gun in his hand immediately before and after the homicide.
También hay video que lo captura caminando de la casa y otra vez a la casa antes y después del homicidio con una pistola en la mano.
It's also noteworthy, at least, that the police located a large amount of loose cash in the residence of the co-defendant.
También sería importante indicar para la corte que se encontró una gran cantidad de dinero en efectivo en la residencia de la coacusada.
The co-defendant alleges that that exceeded $250,000.
La coactora aquí ha indicado que esa cantidad estaba en exceso de $250,000.
Just to briefly summarize, a man is dead. The defendant faces the highest potential penalty that the state has to offer, and the state's evidence can only be characterized as strong with the confession.
Bueno, para dar un resumen de los hechos de nuestro punto de vista, los cargos aquí son los más severos que existen bajo los estatutos del Estado. Es un crimen de homicidio en el primer grado y el caso del Estado tiene fuertes pruebas, incluyendo una confesión.
For all of those reasons, the state feels that $2 million and the requested conditions are appropriate.
Por esas razones, el Estado determina y opina que una cantidad de una fianza de $2 millones con estas condiciones es adecuado.
All right, and last I knew, pretrial services was not taking anybody else. Do you have approval specifically from them to take Mr. Baez?
Y lo último que escuché es que los servicios previos a un juicio, ese programa ya no estaba aceptando gente debido a una gran lista de espera, así que ¿tiene usted la aprobación anterior para tener al señor Baez ahí en ese programa?
I do not have any specific information as to approval for Mr. Baez.
No tengo ninguna información específica indicando la aprobación del señor Baez en ese programa.
All right, and Attorney Dickey, your position on bail?
Y abogada Dickey, su posición sobre la fianza.
I have an objection to the non-monetary condition of that Mr. Baez, if he were to post, would be unable to leave a house except for the condition of emergency medical care.
Y bueno, tengo una oposición a la condición exigida por el Estado de que el señor Baez no se salga de su residencia si él paga la fianza para el propósito limitado, tratamientos de emergencia médica.
Permanent address is not required in any other situation. Applying that to Mr. Baez, he has a due process right in general.
El señor Baez tiene el derecho debido de un proceso justo y el requisito de tener una dirección permanente no es una condición adecuada.
The geographical ban would be or the geographical limitation that Mr. Baez not leave Dane County is sufficient.
La prohibición de salirse del condado, esa limitación geográfica es suficiente.
The turning over of all of his travel documents would also give the state the comfort that he wouldn't be going anywhere.
El entregar de los documentos para viajes también le da al Estado la garantía que no se va saliendo del lugar tampoco.
In regards to the amount, we're requesting $50,000 in understanding that this is a very serious charge and the exposure here is high.
Entendiendo que este cargo es un cargo muy grave y la exposura de tiempo en la prisión está bien significativo, Nosotros creemos que una fianza de un valor de $50,000 es suficiente.
And assuming that the no contact is ordered between Mr. Baez and the co-defendant's inheritance and possession of cash is irrelevant to Mr. Baez.
Relevant or irrelevant?
Irrelevant.
La herencia de la coactora de la gran cantidad de dinero no es pertinente al señor Baez y la indicación de no tener contacto con la coactora, asumiendo la prohibición de ese contacto, es suficiente.
That's it.
Es todo.
Any response from the state?
¿Alguna respuesta del Estado?
I would just again reiterate that someone was shot and killed, and Mr. Baez, with the amount of exposure he's facing, has a large incentive to flee.
Y bueno, también solamente quiero volver a repetir que alguien recibió un tiro, fue matado y el señor Baez tiene un gran incentivo para fugarse de la jurisdicción de la corte.
All right, well, obviously you have to take into consideration whether cash is necessary to assure Mr. Baez's appearance in court.
Bueno, primero necesito considerar si una fianza de caución es necesaria para asegurar la presencia del señor Baez aquí en el tribunal.
And it's an Act 3 eligible offense, so I also have to consider whether it's necessary to protect the public.
Y como también es una ofensa bajo la ley número 3, Act 3, también tengo que determinar si eso está en la mejor interés del público, de la seguridad pública.
I'm satisfied that there's a need for substantial cash bail to assure appearance in court.
Quedo satisfecho que existe la necesidad de una fianza de un alto valor para asegurar la comparecencia en la corte.
It appears to be a very strong case.
Parece ser un caso bien fuerte.
I've got about 2 paragraphs of information, and when the state files a criminal complaint, we'll have a lot more information.
Tengo como 2 parágrafos de información y cuando el Estado entabla su denuncia criminal vamos a tener bastante más información.
But the information I have is that he's seen on videotape at around the time of the shooting and identified by his daughter, I believe, as the person on the videotape.
Pero la información que existe es que se ve a él en un video alrededor de esa hora del homicidio y es identificado por su propia hija en esos videos.
He's also allegedly on audio confessing to the homicide.
Y supuestamente también está en un audio confesando al homicidio.
And he certainly has a motive based upon what's alleged in the complaint to have committed the act.
Y también basado en lo que está indicado ahí en la denuncia, él tiene un motivo por haber cometido el acto.
If convicted, he's looking at a mandatory minimum 20 years in prison.
Si es condenado por este cargo, él está viendo un castigo mandatorio mínimo de 20 años.
Given his age, my math puts him into his high 80s before he would be able to be released if convicted as a best case scenario.
Y dada mis calculaciones matemáticas, puedo concretar que él estaría en sus altos 80s antes de ser liberado, si es que sea condenado por este cargo bajo la mejor, best
case scenario.
Bajo el escenario mejor. Sorry.
So to put it another way, if convicted and the judge allows you to be released at the earliest possible date.
Y bueno, si usted fuera a ser condenado, señor, y si el juez le permite la liberación a la fecha más temprana posible,
the sentence may well mean that you spend the rest of your life in prison.
La condena puede significar que usted pase el resto de su vida encarcelado.
It's hard to overstate the incentive that Mr. Baez has to not appear on these charges.
Es difícil decir que no hay un incentivo alto para fugarse de las jurisdicciones de la corte.
There are not significant ties or long-term ties to the area, and the potential for access to significant funds.
Y bueno, no hay lazos significativos por largo tiempo aquí con la comunidad y parece que también existe el acceso a altas cantidades de fondos.
I also don't have the ability to have pretrial services monitoring if the money's posted.
Tampoco tengo la oportunidad de tenerlo vigilado bajo el programa de servicios previos al juicio si es que él pueda pagar la fianza de caución.
I don't think I can set a condition that says he can't be released until he's on pretrial services if they're not able to take him any posts.
No creo que puedo imponer una condición indicando que si él pague la fianza, él necesita ser bajo la supervisión del programa de servicios previos al juicio, si es que ellos no tienen disponibilidad de aceptarlo si él pague la fianza.
That essentially results in preventative detention.
Eso resulta en detención preventiva.
And there's a separate procedure for that, and the state hasn't proceeded under that, at least as of this moment.
Y pues hay un proceso aparte del presente y no me parece que el Estado ha empezado tal proceso todavía, pero existe esa oportunidad para el Estado.
I am going to order $2 million cash bail.
Voy a hacer la orden de una fianza de caución en valor de $2 millones de dólares.
He should provide his passport or other travel documents prior to release if he posts.
Él debe proporcionar su pasaporte o documentos de viajes antes de ser permitido pagar la fianza.
I will order pretrial services, but again, I don't think I can make it a condition that he has to be on and monitored before he's released.
Voy a incluir una condición de que él esté en el programa de supervisión previo al juicio, pero no la condición de que tiene que estar matriculado en el programa antes de ser liberado.
I will order that if he posts, he contact them by phone no later than 10 a.m. on the business day following his release.
Será ordenado que él se comunique con ellos por teléfono a más tardar el día siguiente a las 10 de la mañana después de pagar la fianza y salir de la cárcel, a más tardar.
And that he then report as directed by pretrial services. So when they have an opening, can take him, he needs to report immediately.
Y que él reporta o que se dirige a las oficinas de los servicios previos al juicio si es que tengan una apertura, un tiempo para presentarse.
At that time, I'll order that he be equipped with a GPS to monitor that he remain in Dane County, Wisconsin.
Y en ese tal entonces incluiré una orden que él sea equipado con un aparato GPS para asegurar que se quede dentro del condado de Dane.
Given the significant amount of cash bail that I'm ordering, I'm not going to order what amounts to essentially house arrest.
Dada la condición de esta fianza de un alto valor, no voy a incluir la orden indicando básicamente el arresto domiciliario.
It also wouldn't necessarily be able to be monitored if pretrial services is not able to take him.
Tampoco puede ser monitoreado así si es que el programa de servicios previos al juicio no lo pueden aceptar.
I'll order no contact direct or indirect with Melissa Basilio Ruiz.
Será ordenado una condición de no tener contacto directo ni indirecto con Melissa Basilio Ruiz.
That you not use or possess any dangerous weapons as that's defined by the state statutes.
Que no tengan su posesión armas peligrosas como sean definidos bajo los estatutos.
That you not use or possess any ammunition.
que no tengas en su posesión municiones.
I'll order no contact, direct or indirect, with any immediate family member of LSH.
Y que tampoco tenga contacto con miembros directos de la familia de LSH.
We will set an in custody hearing on January 29th at 1:30.
Se programará una audiencia aquí en la custodia de la cárcel el 29 de enero a la 1:30 de la tarde.
If he posts, I'm certainly willing to give more time for the state, but if you want it on January 29th, we might as well do it at 10:30 to give you the most amount of time to have a complaint ready.
Si él paga la fianza, podemos programarlo a las 10:30 para darles más tiempo para tener preparado una denuncia criminal.
Sure, it may work better logistically to have the out of custody scheduled after the in custody hearing and set it for February 2nd to the following Monday.
Y bueno, comisionado, tal vez sería logísticamente mejor tener la audiencia fuera de la custodia de la cárcel el día 2 de febrero, el lunes después de la otra fecha para el día 29 de enero a la 1:30.
Any objection, Attorney Smith?
¿Alguna oposición, abogado Smith?
I just want to clarify, any objection to what the clerk stated about having it in custody? No objection.
Solamente quiero clarificar que no tengo ninguna oposición a lo que clarificó el secretario del tribunal.
All right, so if he hasn't posted, the in custody hearing will be January 29th at 1:30. If he has.
Si él no ha pagado la fianza, la audiencia siguiente será el 29 de enero a la 1:30.
If he does post, the out of custody initial appearance will be 8:30 on February 2nd.
Si él ha pagado la fianza, la siguiente audiencia se celebrará a las 8:30 el día 2 de febrero.
And will be adjourned if there's nothing further.
Y estaremos concluidos sin que haya algo más. I didn't understand what you said.
I'm not sure what part of what I said he didn't understand.
Sí, no entiendo lo que me están hablando de un video que yo entré para acá y me están preguntando que tengo armas. Yo no tengo armas.
I didn't understand this about a video that I'm seeing in and that I had a weapon. I don't have any weapons.
Okay, you're gonna wanna talk to a lawyer, sir?
And I also don't. Usted, señor, va a querer hablar.
You really don't wanna make any statements about the facts of the case here. This is being recorded
Esto es grabado.
and could be used against you, and you're looking at the most serious charges there are in the state of Wisconsin.
Todo esto puede ser grabado y usted tiene uno de los cargos más severos en el estado de Wisconsin. Es mejor que usted no da más declaraciones sobre los hechos del caso y que hables con un abogado o abogada.
All right, we'll be adjourned. You can go with the bailiffs.
Estaremos concluidos y usted se puede ir con el oficial.
Next is MAYNOR MORENO COLINDRES.
Pardon?
Is there a victim on this one too, or?
I don't know. I don't think. You don't have a victim on Moreno Colindres?
Yes, we do. Do you mean just a victim generally or
Hearing or making
Oh.
a statement that we need the interpreter to interpret consecutively.
I don't see anyone logged in and I don't think there's someone there.
No?
All right, fine. You can interpret simultaneously.
Thank you.
We'll call the state of Wisconsin versus MAYNOR Moreno Colindres, 26 CF 214. Appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Moreno Colindre appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Mr. Moreno Colindres is eligible for state public defender services. Also, the mailing address on the criminal complaint is correct.
Great. I'll make findings of probable cause and are not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. There's a public safety assessment that recommends a signature bond. State's position on bail.
State is recommending cash bail in the amount of $1,000. No contact with Yaya M. It's YA. That's YAYA. Last initial M is in Mary. Also a ban from Chalet Gardens in Fitchburg. And I understand we already discussed pretrial services. But for the record, I am requesting it with GPS monitoring. Reason for the cash. I'll start by noting the defendant admitted a good amount of conduct that would add up to the elements for false imprisonment. And I would note, based on the very concerning conduct in the complaint, or more specifically, under an Act 3 analysis, I think cash is appropriate. Lastly, I'll just note that there is no failure to appear history.
And Ms. Anderson, whenever you're ready, you can make your argument.
Somewhat close, but I live on White Mountain. Tiene que usted pasar por Chalet Gardens para llegar a su casa o a su trabajo. Por poder.
We will be requesting a signature bond as the PSA recommends. We will not be objecting to the non-monetary conditions that the state has laid out. I will note that, as I said, the PSA recommends a signature bond. And as I've heard Your Honor say earlier today, this is not the most serious domestic violence case I've seen in this court. Also, as the state noted, there's no history of non-appearance. While I understand that this is actually eligible as false imprisonment, we've also seen far more violent false imprisonments in this court. For that reason, we'll be asking for a signature bond.
All right. Well, it's concerning because we're now here on his second Act 3 eligible case. His third case relatively short in a short amount of time. He's got in his favor. He's never missed court. He shows up as a pretty low failure to appear score. But every time he's signing a bond, he's promising that he's not gonna pick up any new charges. It's starting to get hard to trust him on those promises when he keeps picking up new cases. I'm gonna set cash bail. I'll set it at $750. I will order pretrial services. And I'll order that you contact them no later than 10 a.m. on the business day following your release if you post. So you'll have to give them a call and then report when they tell you to report. Because right now, I don't believe that they can take you, but when they can, they will let you know. And you'll need to then be equipped with the GPS to monitor the ban from the Chalet Gardens in Fitchburg. And I'll order the no contact condition with Yaya M. You do have the right to a preliminary hearing in 10 days. And Ms. Anderson, if you want to speak with him privately about that, then let me know.
You're asking what you want to have. If we have.
Si tenemos la audiencia dentro del 20, es posible que usted todavía no la tenga. Normalmente va a salir un abogado para esa audiencia. Porque el Estado de Justicia de estudios judiciales y tenemos la oportunidad de también hacerles preguntas en esta audiencia. ¿Quiere tener esa audiencia dentro de 20 días o quiere mejor esperar 20 días para poder tener? How can I get in the training?
So that's part of. But all I'm asking is whether. We would like to have a violent attorney for.
Lo que le estoy diciendo es que usted tal vez va a querer más tiempo para poder tener ese juzgado en esa fecha, si es que puede.
For that hearing.
Para esa audiencia. Can pay for an attorney on Boston. Right. Question was.
Whether you want to.
Si quiere tener la audiencia dentro de 20 días o después de 20 días para tener tiempo. It'll be better to have it after.
Thank you for your patience. We will waive time limits for the prelims.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Next is Destiny Sanders, up here via Zoom. Dallas, did you want to make anything?
Cases to check out what's going on in Holden. And Destiny Sanders does not need that. So I'm back, so what am I doing with this? No,
I'm here. Sanders.
No.
Okay, we'll go on the record, the state of Wisconsin versus Destiny Sanders, 26 CM 223 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Ms. Sanders appears in custody over Zoom alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. Ms. Sanders, do you have a copy of the criminal complaint?
Yeah, it's right here.
All right, thank you. We have received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Ms. Sanders is eligible for public defender services.
All right, and so Ms. Sanders, we have 7 Winona Court number 2 in Madison. Is that still a good place to get mail?
Yeah, well, that's where my birth mother lived, Tanya Lisa Ellaby. I don't know if she will actually accept my mail, but.
Okay, is there a better place to send mail?
Yeah, I would say the job center, 1819 Aberg Avenue, Dane County job, yeah.
Sure, we'll update it to that. I'll make findings of probable cause and are not guilty pleas to the charges. The public safety assessment report recommends modest cash bail. State position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond and no use or possession of controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
Any objections?
Just with the standing objection that it's already illegal.
All right. I'll order a signature bond. Condition will be that you not use or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. Just a bit of warning, Ms. Sanders, the public safety tool suggested maybe cash would have been appropriate here. We're on case number 2, it looks like. If you keep picking up cases, at some point, it's probably an inevitability that you're gonna have cash bail. So try to avoid that, and I think you're getting released today, okay? Good luck.
God bless y'all.
Yep, you're welcome.
Next is Melissa Basilio Ruiz. Basilio Ruiz.
Próximo es el caso de Melissa Basilio Ruiz.
All right, we'll call the bail hearing for Melissa Basilio Ruiz.
Vamos a poner en el acta el caso de la fianza de Melissa Basilio Ruiz.
That's 26 GF 37007.
Es el caso 26 GF 37007.
Appearances.
Comparecencias.
Sam Smith for the state.
Sam Smith por el estado.
Ms. Basilio Ruiz appears in custody in person alongside attorney Brittany Dickey.
Señorita Basilio Ruiz comparece en el tribunal presencialmente con la abogada Brittany Dickey.
Right, and Ms. Basilio Ruiz was arrested and booked into the jail on the charge of felon in possession of a firearm.
Bueno, la señorita Basilio Ruiz fue arrestada y procesada aquí en la cárcel, encarcelada por un cargo de posesión de un arma por ser una persona que ha cometido un delito grave.
And Commissioner Katna found probable cause for that charge.
La comisionada Katna determinó que había motivo fundado para el cargo.
Attorney Dickey, did you get a copy of the probable cause affidavit?
Yes.
Abogada Dickey, ¿recibió usted una copia de la declaración bajo juramento del motivo fundado?
Yes.
Sí.
Do we have a good mailing address for Ms. Basilio?
¿Tenemos una dirección correcta para la señorita Basilio?
423 Willie Drive. Lily Drive.
423 Lily Drive.
Right, and do we know if your office is going to get her a lawyer?
¿Sabemos si su oficina le va a conseguir un abogado?
Not at this time.
No, no en este momento.
All right, and Ms. Basilio Ruiz, the bailiff's going to give you the public defender information in case you need it.
La oficina, digo, el fiscal le va a dar hojas de información para el defensor público si es que lo necesite.
You're certainly free to hire an attorney of your own choosing if you're able.
Usted con seguridad puede contratar a su propio abogada si quiere.
All right. And the clerk wanted to know whether Ms. Basilio Ruiz is going to need an interpreter for future hearings.
Y el secretario aquí me pregunta si la señorita Basilio Ruiz va a necesitar un intérprete para las audiencias futuras.
No.
No.
All right. And we do have certified Spanish interpreter Fred Svensson interpreting for our live stream.
Sí tenemos el intérprete certificado Fred Svensson interpretando para la transmisión en vivo.
What does the state know about when we'll have a criminal complaint?
¿Qué sabe el Estado del cuándo vamos a tener presentado una denuncia criminal?
I'm making the same request as I did in Mr. Baez's case, with a in custody date for January 29th, and an out of custody date later on.
Voy a hacer la misma solicitud que hice en el caso del señor Baez, una audiencia si está presa todavía el día 29 de enero y una fecha después si ha salido de la cárcel.
All right, and what's the state's position on bail?
Y bueno, ¿qué es la posición del Estado sobre la fianza?
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $50,000.
El Estado está pidiendo una fianza de un valor de $50,000.
No contact with the co-defendant, Mr. Baez.
Ningún contacto con el coacusado, el señor Baez.
That she not possess any weapons or any ammunition.
Que no tenga en su posesión ningunas armas ni municiones.
That she be ordered not to leave Dane County.
Que sea ordenada no salirse del condado de Dane.
That she not be released without surrendering any U.S. Passports or other travel documents.
Que no se permite salir de la cárcel menos que si entregue su pasaporte de los Estados Unidos o otros documentos de viaje.
And for the record, I am making the same request as I did in Mr. Baez's case.
Para que conste en el acta, estoy haciendo la misma solicitud como lo hice en el caso del señor Baez.
That is, that she not be released until it is to pretrial services during normal business hours.
Que no sea liberada, menos que si sea con los servicios previos al juicio durante horas laborales.
In regards to the cash amount being requested.
Sobre la cantidad de dinero en efectivo que se está pidiendo.
The state is requesting this particular amount because the investigation is continuing.
El Estado está pidiendo esta cantidad en particular porque la investigación está continuando.
Law enforcement are still in the early stages of the investigation.
Las autoridades todavía están en las horas tempranas de la investigación.
But there is growing evidence that suggests a higher level of culpability.
Pero se está amontonando las pruebas que indica un mayor culpabilidad.
The state may potentially pursue charges relating to aiding a felon in this homicide.
Puede resultar en que el Estado alega cargos por asistir a una persona que es una persona que ha cometido delitos graves en cometer esta ofensa de homicidio en el primer grado.
When law enforcement contacted the defendant at 3 a.m. on January 26th,
Cuando las autoridades se contactaron con la acusada a las 3 de la mañana, el día 26 de enero,
she stated she was going to the vet clinic and hadn't seen Mr. Baez since the day before.
dijo que se iba a ir a la clínica. I'm sorry, for the interpreter, vet clinic? Do you mean veterinary clinic?
That's correct.
Dijo que se iba a la clínica veterinaria y que no había visto al señor Baez desde el día anterior.
Her hands and clothing were covered in blood.
Sus manos y la ropa estaban cubridos en sangre.
She explained that this was as a result of cleaning with bleach.
Ella explicó que esto porque ella había limpiado con bleach o con clorina.
The house itself was described by investigators as a hoarder house.
What?
Hoarder?
La casa fue descrita por los agentes como una casa amontonada con colecciones de cosas.
And the reason that's relevant or noteworthy is there did not appear to be any deep cleaning in that house.
La razón por qué se indica que es una casa acaparadora es porque no parecía como si se estaba limpiando regularmente esa casa.
There was what appeared to be fresh blood found on an empty gun box for a 9mm.
Parece que había sangre, una caja para una arma de 9 milímetros.
That's the same caliber of weapon used in this incident.
Esa es la misma arma como la que fue usada en este incidente.
This defendant also admitted that she lied repeatedly to law enforcement during the preliminary investigation.
Esta acusada también admitió que había mentido repetidamente a los investigadores durante la investigación preliminar.
For all of those reasons, the state feels $50,000 and the requested conditions are appropriate.
Por esas razones, el Estado opina que la cantidad de $50,000 de fianza con esas condiciones es apropiada.
And Attorney Dickey?
Y la abogada Dickey.
No objection to the non-monetary conditions of bond. Ms.
Ninguna objeción a las condiciones no monetarias de la fianza.
Ms. Basilio Ruiz in 15 CF 64 made all court appearances and was successfully discharged from probation in 2019.
En el 2019, en el caso 15 CF 64, la señorita Basilio Ruiz se presentó para todas sus audiencias y completó exitosamente su condición de probatoria o libertad vigilada.
And even though the state says that there's growing evidence of higher culpability, that's not the hearing that we're having today. What's in front of us is felon in possession of a firearm.
Y aún que el Estado esté indicando que se está amontonando pruebas para una culpabilidad mayor. Por eso no estamos aquí delante de la corte hoy día. Estamos aquí por ser una persona que ha cometido un delito grave con posesión de una arma.
And that being said, this $50,000 is a steep amount. $5,000 would be more appropriate and incentivize her to still come to court, but take into account that she's made all of her court appearances before, and the state has yet to provide what they would be charging her with.
Y bueno, el Estado todavía no ha proporcionado los cargos realmente con ella, así que debido a esto y su historia de siempre comparecer en la corte, $50,000 es excesivo y 5,000 sería más apropiado para incentivizarla para presentarse a las audiencias aquí en el tribunal.
That's it.
Eso es todo.
All right. Well, this type of case really isn't what Rule 206 was intended to deal with.
Bueno, este caso no es un caso que la regla número 206 tenía en cuenta cuando se decidió eso.
Your run-of-the-mill felon in possession of a firearm charge would probably have a criminal complaint today.
Un caso típico por ser una persona que ha cometido delitos graves y que esté en posesión de un arma de fuego, probablemente tendría una denuncia criminal delante de nosotros hoy día.
This one resulted out of an investigation for a first-degree intentional homicide.
Esta resultó de un incidente del primer grado, homicidio en el primer grado, intencionalmente.
So I'm not going to give the state a ton of grief for not having a formal criminal complaint here today.
Así que no voy a hacer gran cosa del hecho de que el Estado no tiene una denuncia criminal presente hoy día.
And because I don't know exactly what we're going to have for charges in a criminal complaint, I tend to err on the higher side at this point.
Y como no tenemos indicado bien los cargos posibles en una denuncia criminal hoy día, determino que sería mejor una fianza más alta.
Knowing that we're going to come back in a couple of days to review bail and hopefully have a criminal complaint.
Sabiendo bien que vamos a volver en un par de días, tener una mejor idea para concretar una fianza en ese tiempo con una denuncia criminal presente.
That said, and I don't think the state's suggesting that they expect that they're going to come back with first-degree intentional homicide charges for Ms. Basilio Ruiz.
Aún dicho todo esto, no, el Estado no ha indicado que están seguros que van a volver con una acusación de haber cometido un homicidio en el primer grado de parte de la señorita Basilio Ruiz.
The charges that they're talking about and might charge her with certainly aggravate things beyond the charge that she's booked in on.
Pero puede ser que las acusaciones que los Estados va a presentar en una fecha futura puede ser agravantes y más graves del cargo que se ha indicado hoy día.
I'll set $25,000 cash bail.
Voy a concretar la fianza en $25,000.
I will order that you provide your passport or any other travel documents to the Dane County Sheriff or the Clerk of Court prior to release.
Será ordenada proporcionar al secretario del Tribunal del Condado de Dane cualquier pasaporte y documento viajero antes de ser liberada.
I will order pretrial services, but I don't think I can order that you're not released until they're able to take you.
También ordenaré participación en los servicios previos al juicio, aunque no puedo exigir que usted sea matriculada con ellos antes de ser liberada hoy día.
And that's because they're over capacity, and to do otherwise would just amount to preventative detention.
Y eso lo digo porque ellos están con una alta capacidad y tienen una lista de espera y esto sería como una detención preventiva.
And the charge that she's booked in, and the state wouldn't even be able to file a request for preventative detention.
Y el Estado ni pudiera, bajo los cargos indicados, pedir una detención preventiva bajo los cargos actuales.
So if you post, I'm going to require that you call pretrial services no later than 10 a.m. on the business day following your release.
Así que si usted puede pagar la fianza, será ordenada contactarse por teléfono a más tardar las 10 de la mañana a los servicios ante juicio el día después de ser liberada.
And that you report to their offices at the time they direct you when they're able to take you.
Y que usted reporte a las oficinas de ellos en la hora que ellos indican que le puedan aceptar.
And you'll be equipped with a GPS to monitor that you don't leave Dane County, Wisconsin.
Y entonces usted será equipada con un aparato GPS para asegurar que no se salga del condado de Dane.
I'll order no contact, direct or indirect, with your co-defendant, Mr. Baez.
Será ordenado que usted tenga ningún contacto con el coacusado, el señor Baez.
That you not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that's defined by the statutes.
Que usted no use ni posee armas peligrosas como son definidos bajo el estatuto.
Or any ammunition.
Y que no tengas amuniciones.
I will order that you have no contact, direct or indirect, with the immediate family members of LSH.
Y que también incluiré una orden prohibiendo contacto con la familia de LSH.
We will schedule this for an in-custody appearance January 29th at 1:30 if you haven't posted bail.
Será ordenado que usted se presente ante el tribunal si no ha pagado la fianza a más tardar el día 29 de enero a las 10:30.
1:30.
A la 1:30.
And then if you post, you'll have an out-of-custody initial appearance February 2nd at 8:30 a.m.
Y si es que haya pagado la fianza, entonces se presentará en el tribunal el día 2 de febrero a las 8:30.
I think I covered the conditions. Have I overlooked anything, Attorney Smith?
Pienso que he cubrido todas las condiciones. ¿Me he olvidado de algo, señor abogado Smith?
No, I don't believe so.
No creo.
Anything further, Attorney Dickey?
No.
¿Algo más, abogada Dickey?
Okay, we are adjourned.
Estamos concluidos.
Next is Jalen Swan.
And is that the last one we needed Fred for? Right, thanks, Fred.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. Jalen Swan.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Jalen Swan. It's 26 CM 217 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Thank you. Ms. Swan appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges.
Well, they're looking to see if they have paperwork. Ms. Swan, is the address on the complaint the best place for mail? Is the address on the complaint the best place for mail? Yes. Okay.
It appears from what I have that Ms. Swan is not eligible for public defender services.
Okay, so you're certainly free to hire an attorney on your own after today. If you can't, you could apply for a county attorney. That's the middle option. Or you could reapply with the public defender and they've given you their contact info. I'll make findings of probable cause and are not guilty pleas to the charges. There's a public safety assessment. It recommends a signature bond. State's position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond along with condition that she have no contact with Todd E. It's TODD. That she not consume or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, and that she take all prescribed medications as prescribed.
Any objections?
Just in that, I don't think the complaint, to my knowledge, alleged anything about controlled substances. I don't understand why that's being offered as a condition.
I thought it mentioned something with THC in it, a vape pen or something.
Oh, I
like that.
see.
Yeah, page 2, kind of in the middle.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify, what the ADA was asking for, was that our standard, is not used to possess controlled substances or paraphernalia, or is that different?
So the no contact, the second condition I requested was the standard no drugs language. And then following that was a third request for take all prescribed medications as prescribed.
Okay. Okay. So I suppose no objections to the non-monetary conditions. I would just note that it seems like Ms. Swan was having a mental health crisis and she asked for help, or her boyfriend called for help and she ended up in jail. I don't think this is the place for her. So we would agree with the signature bond here.
All right, I'll order a signature bond. Condition will be a no contact direct or indirect with Todd E. That you.
It's gonna.
It's the person identified as TDE in the criminal complaint. You've got a copy of that, so you can read through that, and that might clue you in. I'll order that you not use or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, and that you also take any prescribed medications that you have as prescribed. And I think you're going to get released yet today, so we'll be adjourned.
Sorry, police officer.
Next is Cheyenne Wink. Cheyenne Wink.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Cheyenne Wink. It's 26 CF 202 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Ms. Wink appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. From the information I have here, Ms. Wink is not eligible for public defender services. I can also advise the court that the mailing address in the criminal complaint is correct.
Okay, so Ms. Wink, they've given you the public defender information. If you can't hire an attorney on your own, you can contact them, reapply. You could apply for a county appointed attorney, which is kind of the middle option, and they can help you with that if you need assistance. I'll make findings of probable cause, enter not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. State's position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond, no contact with Ellie W. It's ELLIE. No contact with Jacob M. It's common spelling. A ban from Chasers 2.0. That's 408 West Gorham Street in Madison. And that she not consume or possess alcohol.
Any objections?
Just 1 second. No objection to either the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions. I'll just add that doesn't look like Ms. Wink has any criminal history and there's nothing to indicate that she won't come to court.
Okay, I'll order a signature bond. Conditions will be a no contact direct or indirect with LEW and Jacob M. You'll be banned from Chasers 2.0 on West Gorham Street. You should not possess or consume any alcohol. And then we should talk about your right to a preliminary hearing. You have the right to have that in 20 days.
We will waive time limits, Your Honor.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Good luck.
Next is Raina Jones. Raina Jones.
Go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Raina Jones. That's 26 CM 221. We also have bail bond hearings in 24 CM 2816 and 24 CM 2399 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Ms. Jones appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal readings and stand mute to any misdemeanor charges. I don't have any information about Ms. Jones's eligibility for public defender services, and we need to update the mailing address.
Okay, whenever you or Ms. Jones are ready, you can update the mailing address.
615 East Washington.
Okay, we'll update it to the Beacon. And then I think the deputy gave you the public defender info. If you can't get an attorney on your own, give them a call to see if you're eligible. We'll make findings of probable cause in the new case and are not guilty pleas to the charges. And address bail on all three. State's position on bail.
In regards to the new case, the state's requesting $500 cash. No contact with Christine P. It's Kristine. Supported the cash in that case. I'll note the defendant has been on a bench warrant. In the other two cases we're here for bail hearings. I believe she's been in warrant status since October 30th of 2025. She also missed court on March 11th, 2025. So for those reasons, I think $500 is modest. In regards to the two cases we're here for a bail hearing, the state's requesting $1,000 on each of these and the reinstatement of the previous conditions. Reason for the higher request or the separate cash request on these bail hearings. I won't go through the entire record, but I believe in December of 2024, $400 cash bail was set, at least in 24 CM 2816. There was a failure to appear at a plea hearing March 11th that I mentioned earlier. In the later part of March, the court set an additional $200 cash. And that still was not enough for Ms. Jones to appear. So I think $1,000 on each of those cases is appropriate. Thank you.
All right, and just to be clear, I'm not sure she didn't end up on signature bonds ultimately in those two cases. The clerk could correct me if I'm wrong. I think she had cash bail and then it ultimately got modified to a signature bond. So I don't believe she has any cash on file that's eligible.
I am seeing that as well. On April 11th of 2025, I believe whatever cash amounts were reverted to signature bonds.
All right, and Ms. Anderson?
Just one moment, please. We'll be requesting a signature bond in this case for the reason that the state is right that Ms. Jones was able to post, I think, $300, then $500, $400 at different points throughout her cases. However, Ms. Jones advised me that that was through a program of a nonprofit here in Dane County. It's not her own money, and she doesn't think they'll be able to help her again. So it's my understanding that cash bail has to be reachable. It's my impression that she's indigent. A $0 to $1,500 seems like quite a big jump. We'd ask for a signature bond on the new case, and if Your Honor feels it's necessary to impose some amount of cash bail on the old cases, we would ask that it be as modest as possible, given Ms. Jones's inability to post any amount at this time.
All right. Well, I think a person's ability to post and their resources is a factor to take into account. I think the court has to set an amount that they think is going to assure the appearance in court. These are also all Act 3 eligible offenses. So I have to take into account the need for cash bail to protect the public under the totality of the circumstances. It's pretty concerning. They've got somebody out on bail and multiple Act 3 offenses and then allegedly commits another violent Act 3 offense. Obviously, there's a pretty poor appearance history. There's clearly a need for cash bail in these cases. The other thing is, quite frankly, I could just order Ms. Jones held without bail in the 224 CM cases. She's already pled. She's just awaiting sentencing. So the presumption of innocence is not applicable at this point. And I think given that fact, the state's request is pretty much warranted and necessary. I'll adopt it. I'll set $500 in 26 CM 221. Order a no contact director and direct with Christine P. Set $1,000 cash bail in the 24 CM cases with the prior non-monetary conditions, and we'll be adjourned.
Next is Teja Lewis.
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Tasia Lewis. It's 26 CF 210, 26 CF 215, and 26 CM 220 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Ms. Lewis appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Ms. Lewis is eligible for public defender services. Just one moment. Is this? You want this one? Okay. If we could update the mailing address. 4542 Stein, Stein Avenue, Madison, 53714.
Right, thank you. We'll make findings of probable cause and are not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. State's position on bail.
In each of these cases, I'm going to be requesting $750 cash. I'll start with 26 CM 220. As far as non-monetary conditions, the state is requesting a ban from all Walgreens locations. And 26 CF 210. The state is again requesting $750 and a ban from Walmart. And in 26 CF 215, the state is again requesting $750 along with a ban from both Macy's and Ulta Beauty. I'll note as far as failure to appear history, I believe there's one older one, December 21st, 2017, and more recently, January 9th, 2026. Also note in support of the cash, it's no secret all of this is related to theft or retail theft, whether it's a misdemeanor or felony. But I think with the growing amount of cases and the growing amount of cases that are being picked up with incident dates where Ms. Lewis is on out on bond and other cases, I think cash is warranted.
Right, and Ms. Anderson?
Your Honor, we'll be asking for $100 each case. Ms. Lewis, it's my understanding that she hasn't posted cash bail in the last couple of years. She doesn't have the ability to post $750 in each case. And going from a signature bond to $750 each seems like quite the escalation. I would also note that it's based on what I have here. She's made all her court appearances in 24 CM 2657, 24 CM 2658, and 25 CF 455, to a total of attending court 6 times in the last 2 years. And one of those cases was even dismissed. So she was going for something that ultimately did not result in a conviction. To summarize, I suppose, Ms. Lewis doesn't have the ability to post $750 each case. I would ask for a more modest increase that still incentivizes her to abide by the promises she makes when she posts bond, but is not so far as to hold her in detention indefinitely. Thank you.
All right, and it looks to be the same name, same address she's provided, same date of birth, and 25 CF 2245. Says that she posted bail just yesterday, January 26th of this year. I don't know that that was one of the cases that was listed as a basis for the bail jump, but it appears that that is a case that's pending, but I'll hear from Attorney Smith or Ms. Anderson if I'm missing something here.
I don't have any information on that.
I don't believe, if you're asking if that's the subject of any of the bail jumping charges, I don't believe it is.
Right, but it looks to me like it's the very same person who just posted cash bail yesterday. Ms. Lewis.
Which case number are you referring to?
25 CF 2245.
Looks like bail was posted and she was released on January 22nd. I don't see cap over, but sometimes the.
It comes
cash
in
being posted is
the-
exactly the same as what we received documents.
Right. Well, the point remains, she's just very recently posted cash bail. I think in 26 CM 220, since we're looking at a misdemeanor retail theft and a misdemeanor bail jump, $500 is sufficient there, and a ban from all Walgreens. I think the $750 in both of the felony files is appropriate. I'll order that. In 26 CF 210, order a ban from Walmart, and 26 CF 215, a ban from Macy's and Ulta Beauty in addition to the cash bails. What about time limits for a preliminary hearing?
Looking for some time limits, I can just set the prelim right before her other cases, they're all scheduled for February.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, then we are adjourned.
I apologize, Commissioner, just for my records, you said 500 per case?
500 on the misdemeanor, but 750 per case on the felonies.
Thank you.
And bailiffs, I've been asked to provide a reminder that there is a victim waiting for help.
I'm sorry, did you say that?
Victim waiting on Comer.
And
That was a complaint that hadn't been filed when we started, but we do have it now, I see.
okay.
You can go with Bills.
Next is Teresa Malone. Ms. Malone.
We'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Teresa Malone, 25 CF 913 and 26 CM 212 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Probably why I haven't seen.
We'll correct it.
That's like maybe like 3 hours ago.
We'll get it back. We'll get it
Yeah, 'cause
corrected.
this one's for-
Okay.
this person, this not so.
Okay, got it. Ms. Malone appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Ms. Malone is eligible for public defender services. However, we do need to update the mailing address in the criminal complaint. Is this the right one? Okay, so the new mailing address should be 222 West Liberty Street, Evansville, is that Illinois, Wisconsin, Evansville, Wisconsin, 53536.
Great, thank you. We'll make findings of probable cause. Enter not guilty pleas to the misdemeanor case. There's a PSA report. It recommends a signature bond. What's the state's position on bail?
Just one moment, Your Honor. All right. In 26 CM 212, the state is recommending a signature bond along with the condition that she not consume or possess controlled substances without a valid prescription. Also a ban from Target as to 25 CF 913. State's requesting a signature bond. No contact with the co-defendant in that matter. A ban from the 3200 block of Sandwood Way. No contact with Beth G. Beth is common spelling and it's G as in Gary. And no contact with John G. Lastly, a ban from Easy Pawn.
Okay, and any objections to the signature bonds and those conditions?
Oh, so, wait, it's lost. Okay. Okay, so we're
Up easy.
okay.
So they sure.
Okay, we got it. All good. No objection to either the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions. I would object insofar as I always object that consuming controlled substances is already illegal.
Okay, well, I'm gonna adopt the request for signature bonds and the conditions as requested by the ADA. In the misdemeanor, conditions will be that you not use or possess controlled substances, drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. You'll be banned from any Target stores. And then the felony, the signature bond, no contact, direct or indirect with your co-defendant, a ban from the 3200 block of Sandwood Way, and no contact, direct or indirect with Beth and John G, and a ban from any Easy Pawn locations. You would have the right to a preliminary hearing on the felony case in the next 20 days. Ms. Anderson, what's her position on that?
Okay, we will waive time limits for the prelim.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Next is Mariana Turner.
Okay. Thanks.
Is her. Yeah. Okay. These name on the doors.
Great, we'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Mariama Turner. It's 26 CF 224, and then we have bail bond hearings in 24 CM 1036 and 24 CF 1737. Appearances, please.
Sam Smith for the state.
Thank you. Sorry.
We got the state's
Okay.
appearance.
Gotcha. Ms. Turner appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Ms. Turner is eligible for public defender services. The address is okay.
Okay, I'll make findings of probable cause in the new case and are not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. We'll need to address bail in all three cases. We do have a public safety assessment report. It recommends cash bail. The other two cases looks like there was a failure to appear back in April of 2025. What's the state's position on bail?
In regards to the bail hearings for each of the 2024 cases, I'll just note there was initially a signature bond set at the initial appearance, or one of the initial appearances, August 26, 2024. There was a failure to appear December 12th, 2024. A warrant was issued. A bail hearing in the public safety building here on December 19th. Commissioner Hanson reinstated that signature bond after the failure to appear. And then there was another failure to appear April 17th of 2025. For that reason, I think that cash is warranted. I would ask the court to impose $500 per case and reinstate the non-monetary conditions as to 26 CF 224. The state is again requesting $500 cash. In that case, as far as conditions, I'm requesting a ban from Target and a ban from Ulta. Further in support of the cash, or what is $500 per case here, I'll note this 2026 case is the defendant's fourth open case. She continues to, I understand she enjoys the presumption of innocence right now, but from the state's perspective, she continues to commit thefts while on bond. So for all those reasons, I think $500 per case is reasonable.
And whenever Ms. Anderson's ready, she can make her argument.
I did.
Ms. Turner is asking for $250 in her new case. She can't post $500, $1,500 cumulatively between the three cases. That would give her the incentive to honor the conditions of her bond, while still assuring her appearance in court. In support of our proposed cash bail, I will note that Ms. Turner has made court successfully 6 times in the last 2 years. She's lived in Dane County, Wisconsin her whole life. Any amount more than $250 additional would hold Ms. Turner indefinitely. Given her, presumably given her, state public defender eligibility. Thank you.
All right, I can't, just do $250 on this record. You've missed, 4 times since 2024, been out on a warrant for about 9 months. Picked up a new case, in the interim. I'll set $500 cash bail in 26 CF 224, order a ban from Target and Ulta, beauty locations. And 24 CF 1737, I'm gonna set $500 cash bail with prior non-monetary conditions. I think a lesser amount of $250 is sufficient in 24 CM 1036, since that's just a misdemeanor, and then also the prior non-monetary conditions will remain. What about time limits for a preliminary hearing?
We will be waiving time limits. Thank you.
Okay, we are adjourned.
This one next. Next is Chairman Comer Golden. Golden.
We'll call the state of Wisconsin versus Jeremy Comer Golden. It's 26 CF 226 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Golden appears in person in custody alongside attorney Brittany Dickey. We've reviewed the criminal complaint and waive its formal reading. The address is correct, and we enter in non-guilty pleas on any of the misdemeanor counts.
Great, we'll make findings of probable cause, and are not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. Is he eligible for a public defender after today?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And then I believe we have a victim. If they wanted to make a statement about bail and bond, now's your opportunity. I appreciate your patience. You've been waiting since the start of the calendar. You just need to unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I was just so I was told what his bond was, and I was just asking for a lower bond.
A lower bond?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you Jalea Hunt?
Yeah.
Okay, and that looks like it's spelled JALEAH and then HUNT.
Yeah, correct.
All right. And anything else that you wanted to say about bail or bond conditions?
Yeah, and I was requesting contact too.
Okay. Attorney Smith, what's your position on bail?
The state's recommending cash bail in the amount of $100,000, along with the conditions that the defendant have no contact with Jalea H, that he not possess any dangerous weapons, that he not consume or possess alcohol, and that he be banned from the 500 block of Northport Drive in Madison. I would also request that he be referred to pretrial services for GPS monitoring if released. I understand we just heard the victim speak, advocating for lower cash bail and for contact, but with these facts and what's alleged in the complaint, more specifically a scuffle in which the defendant pointed a firearm at the victim and fired. It's on video. It's extremely dangerous and reckless and concerning. So that's my reason for the high cash bail request in line with the Act 3 analysis. And I am requesting a no contact given what's alleged.
Okay, and Attorney Dickey.
We're asking for $5,000 cash bail. Mr. Comer Golden, he doesn't have a criminal history up to my knowledge. Though the allegations here are very serious and the exposure here is high, Mr. Golden also has a child that's on the way within the next 2 weeks. Mr. Golden has every incentive to continue returning to court. And given all of that and his community ties here, a $5,000 cash would incentivize him to return and give him an ability to post. And given that he is public defender eligible as well, that would be a significant amount for him.
Well, they're extremely serious charges. You're probably lucky you're not charged with an attempted homicide, given what's alleged, and I'm not trying to have you comment about the facts here. I don't want you to say anything that gets used against you later on. But there'd likely be probable cause for such a charge. The state's charged you with first-degree recklessly endangering safety. That's still a very serious charge. That's often the type of charge that ends in a prison sentence if you're convicted. Apparently is captured on video. There's a lot of incentive not to appear, but just the sheer nature of pointing a gun at somebody and pulling the trigger suggests that there's a need for significant cash bail to protect the public from that behavior. There's far too much firearms play that goes on in Dane County. It's dangerous stuff and it warrants significant cash bail. Given the lack of prior record, I'm willing to set it less. I'll set it at $75,000. I'll order that you report to or call pretrial services no later than 10 a.m. on the business day following your release if you're able to post the bail, since they're over capacity right now, and then report to their offices when they say that they can take you. I'll order that you be equipped with GPS and order a band from the 500 block of Northport Drive. I'm ordering the no contact with Julia H. I appreciate her input, and I certainly appreciate how patient she's been waiting since at least 1:30 or earlier. She's been waiting for this case. Given what's alleged here and that we're so fresh from that, I just am not comfortable with any contact at this particular point in time for the victim's safety. I'll order that you not possess or consume any alcohol. I will order pretrial services to monitor that with a breathalyzer if they're able to take you, and that you not use or possess any dangerous weapons as defined by the state statutes. Does he want a prelim in the next 10 days?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll get that scheduled and we'll be adjourned.
Next is Melvin Jackson.
Thanks.
Melvin Jackson. Yes. Big one. Please stand up and go.
So on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Melvin Duchesne Jackson Jr., it's 26 CF 208 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Get back and change it last time. This is a new charge.
Yes.
So just one.
Okay. Mr. Jackson appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. I don't have any information about Mr. Jackson's eligibility at this time, but we do need to update the mailing address, I believe.
Okay, where's a good place to get mail, Mr. Jackson?
It would be 2002 Dunn DUNN Place, Madison, Wisconsin, 537.
Thank you. So if you can't hire an attorney on your own after today, you could reapply with the public defender's office or apply for a county appointed attorney. I think he's sitting on cash bail in another case or cases. There is a PSA report that recommends cash bail. So we'll make a finding of probable cause for the charge and we'll address bail. State's position.
State's requesting $1,000 cash and a band from Menards. I'll note several recent failures to appear and the other pending cases that the court mentioned. bench warrants issued April 1st, 2025, February 10th, 2025, August 28th, 2023, May 16th, 2023, September 16th, 2022, and August 12th of 2022. I think that record speaks for itself, and cash is necessary to ensure Mr. Jackson's appearance.
Okay, and Ms. Anderson?
We're asking for a signature bond in this new case only because Ms. Jackson or Mr. Jackson already has 3,500 or $3,000 cash in another case, which he's been sitting on. Clearly, that's a prohibitive amount already. It's not reachable for him. So it doesn't make sense to me in this case to add additional cash bail on. These allegations happened before he was brought in on that $3,000 cash bail. Clearly, if it was an attainable amount, $3,000, he would already be out. So for that reason, I would ask for a signature bond in this case, given that he already has a significant amount of cash bail in other cases that he has not been able to post.
All right. There's a need for cash bail. He's got a horrific appearance history. I think a lesser amount of cash bail than what's requested is appropriate. I think if he'd come in on all three of the pending cases at the same time, would it warrant more than $4,000 cash bail? No, I think he's on 500 on another case, 3,000 on one. I'm going to set 500 here. And then I'll order the ban from any Menards locations. And
He does have a prelim already set with the high lows.
okay, yeah, so we might as well just get this scheduled. That's what I was looking at. Okay,
Question, sorry.
sure.
Is this prelim gonna go with the other prelim or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do I go about getting, cause I have another case, how do I go about getting all that conjoined? I had to go.
Well, you should talk to your lawyer about that. None of that would be addressed until after a preliminary hearing anyways. But we're gonna get anything that isn't past a preliminary hearing set for the same time, on a preliminary hearing.
Sure, the other case is set for an arraignment about a week later.
Okay. So you've got one other case that still needs the prelim. Those will be on at the same time. And then they can maybe put these on for an arraignment with that third case if you get bound over. I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay?
Thank you.
Take care.
Next is Juan Zepeda-Samano. Juan Zepeda-Samano. Paperwork is on yellows.
Go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Juan Zepeda-Samano. It's 26 CF 222 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zepeda-Samano appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We've received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand any misdemeanor charges. The address is correct. It looks like I don't have any information on Mr. Zepeda-Samano's eligibility. It does look like he is represented by a private attorney in other cases.
Okay, so if you're able to retain private counsel in this case, great. If not, you can apply for a public defender, or the middle option is applying for a county attorney, and they've given you that info. I'll make a finding of probable cause and state's position on bail.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $3,000 with a condition that he not operate a motor vehicle. In support of this request, I'll start by noting the defendant has no prior history and no failures to appear. But I think what's alleged in the complaint, or more specifically over the course of approximately 6.5 miles, the defendant led law enforcement on a high-speed pursuit on the highway. Law enforcement had to reach speeds of 109 miles per hour to keep up with them. They observed the defendant straddle multiple lanes of travel, braking heavily. At one point saw the defendant extinguish his lights after he crested a hill. The defendant did not pull over and successfully evaded the pursuit. He later abandoned his car in a nearby parking lot, which was later towed. The defendant also provided law enforcement with a false narrative of events, and then he eventually admitted to the driving behavior. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of my argument, he's got no criminal history or failures to appear. But the fact in and of itself that he engaged in this lengthy, dangerous, reckless, high-speed pursuit with law enforcement while for 6.5 miles approximately, I think that shows cash is necessary. Thank you.
And Ms. Anderson?
We'll be asking for cash bail in the amount of $1,500 in this case. Mr. Zepeda-Samano has indicated to me that he cannot pay $3,000 cash bail. In support of our proposed cash bail, I understand that the court is concerned with fleeing behavior and that it seems to the court to bode ill for court appearance. I would point out that it does seem like it's a different, process in the brain. It seems like fleeing from police in a high-speed chase is allegedly kind of a knee-jerk reaction. It's very emotional, obviously not good decision-making. It's kind of lower brain functioning. In opposition, court appearance is a much longer, slower process. You can be more deliberative and engage in more higher order thinking through the frontal lobe. I think it's the better metric for appearance in this case is whether he's appeared before, and he has. So I would ask that the court impose $1,500 cash bail as opposed to the state's $3,000 cash bail. Thank you.
I'm not even sure he's actually had an appearance other than the in custody appearance in 25 CF 2698 for the initial appearance. If he did, it's about one court appearance where he would have made that. I do think the behavior is just inconsistent with somebody who's gonna voluntarily show up to court. I've heard the arguments that you've made, Ms. Anderson. I even, on a day when I didn't have a lot going on, started looking through a bunch of old cases, got through about 25 eluding cases that had gone to sentence, been resolved, and looked at the history. I think 8 out of the 25, and many of them had posted cash bail, did not show up in court. And one of the reasons I wanted to look is because it seemed to me like I do see a lot of people who are here with eluding charges as an underlying charge, and I couldn't remember, all right, is that because they didn't show up in court or they committing bail violations? It's a very small sample size, but it is concerning to me, and I think there's a need for cash bail. I'll set it at $1,500. That's still a significant amount to Mr. Zepeda-Samano. Sounds like it's something he may be able to reach. My goal isn't to have you sitting in custody. It's to make sure that you appear in court. I'll order that you not operate a motor vehicle at all as a condition of your bail. And this can all be forfeited if you violate conditions of bail or pick up any new cases or miss court. So you need to toe the line going forward. What about time limits for a preliminary hearing?
So
Does he have a prelim in the other case or is that?
Okay.
Pass prelim.
Okay.
We'll keep time limits. Thank you.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Take care.
Next is Dion Arthur. Dion Arthur. Okay, what is your?
We'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Dion Arthur. It's 26 CM 206 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mailing address is fine. I'm just a little confused with the charges.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss the charges today. We're just.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Mr. Arthur appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as to any misdemeanor charges. Mr. Arthur is eligible for public defender services, and the mailing order or the mailing address is correct.
Okay, I'll make finding a probable cause, get not guilty, please enter to the charges, state's position on bail.
If I could have just one moment.
Sure.
State's requesting cash bail in the amount of $500, along with a ban from State Street. Or more specifically, the State Street Langdon map area. A ban from Whiskey Jack's. No contact with Madison Police Officer Aaron Reisinger. Aaron is the common spelling and last name is Reissinger. And also that he not consume or possess alcohol. In support of the cash, I'll note bench warrants issued January 25, 2019, April 17th, 2019, September 9th, 2024. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Anderson.
Mr. Arthur is requesting $200 cash bail. $500 would be a prohibitive amount for him, given that he is indigent, eligible for public defender services. $200 would be a reach for him. It's all he has. It looks like his mailing address is the Beacon, if I'm not mistaken, indicating his indigency.
Well, we should clarify that because I think we had the Aber Job Center. Do you want the Aber Job Center or the Beacon to get mail?
The Beacon is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
yeah, thank you. The Beacon indicates, this mailing address as the Beacon indicates his indigency. The state alluded to some missed appearances. Mr. Arthur has told me that at least one of them, he was double booked for, I think, a family court appearance, but nevertheless, $200 would incentivize him to be diligent about showing up to court. As I said, it's a reach for him. $500 would be prohibitive. That's why we're asking for $200. Thank you.
Well, I think there is a need for cash bail. We have the resistive obstructive behavior, the failures to appear. That said, these are all misdemeanors, even though his charges are repeater. I'm gonna go along with the request for $200. It's on the low side for what I typically set in a standalone case for bail. But I'm hoping that it'll be sufficient to get Mr. Arthur to court. I'll order a ban from the State Street Langdon area, order a no contact direct or indirect with Officer Aaron Reisinger, except as necessary. in their duties as a law enforcement officer, order that you not possess or consume alcohol. And a ban from the Whiskey Jack's Tavern. They've given you the map for State Street, Langdon. Pay close attention to that. I can tell you all the cops know who's not supposed to be there. You walk in there and you're gonna get picked up on a bail jump and be right back here. The state can move to forfeit the cash bail and they'll be asking for a lot more than $500. So bear that in mind. All right, good luck, sir. We are adjourned.
Next is Zachary Goff. Zachary Goff. It's gonna be yours.
Great, well, let's go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Zachary Goff. It's 26 CM 205 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
The alleged accusation. How's this now?
Okay, great. Mr. Goff appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand mute as any misdemeanor charges. Mr. Goff is eligible for public defender services and the mailing address is correct.
I'll make findings of probable cause. Get not guilty, please entered state's position on bail.
State's recommending a signature bond, a ban from the men's shelter on the 2000 block of Zaire Road. And no contact with Clinton M. Last initials M as in Mary.
All right, any objections?
No objection to the signature bond. I am moving to dismiss the penalty enhancer of the dangerous weapon because the only dangerous weapon alleged in this complaint is a broom, which the alleged victim handed to him, indicating that it's not dangerous. And then when the alleged victim told him to drop it, he did. It just doesn't seem to me that that fits the statutory definition of a dangerous weapon here. Given the non-monetary conditions, no objection to the signature bond.
Okay. In regards to the dangerous weapon, I think it is an item much like a baseball bat or a steak knife, not necessarily designed as a weapon, but you can use it in a manner that's likely to cause great bodily harm or death, or you're threatening to use it in that manner. He was handed that and then allegedly he picked it up like he was gonna smack somebody over the head with it. Then ultimately decided not to do that and put it down. I think that gets you to probable cause. The state gets the benefit of competing reasonable inferences that he had transformed it to a dangerous weapon and was impliedly threatening to hit somebody over the head with it. I understand he didn't do that and he didn't make a verbal threat, but just the action, I think, is an implied threat to do that. So I think there's probable cause there. I'll order a signature bond. I'll order a ban from the men's shelter at the 2000 block of Zaire Road and a no contact director and direct with Clinton M. And we'll be adjourned.
All right, good luck.
Yeah, this way, sir.
Goff.
Next is Chad Clark. Chad Clark. No excellence.
All right, we'll go on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Chad Clark. It's 25 CM 656. This is a return on warrant appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
Mr. Clark appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Eileen Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. Is this a bail bond hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he didn't appear on November 20th of 2025. So we should make sure that the address is still current. I think we've got W 4521 27th Street in Necedo, Wisconsin.
It's 117 Waterman's Avenue, Wisconsin.
Okay, and the zip code there?
54660.
All right, no apartment number?
Nope. It's
All right.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear what he was saying. It was that room on
117 Waterman's Avenue,
Okay.
Toronto, Wisconsin.
And the zip code?
54660.
Thank you.
All right, and then, I think Attorney Dickey's actually still his attorney of record, hasn't moved to withdraw, even though we're beyond the 60 days. So you're good on that front. Any info you want to provide, Ms. Anderson, about the failure to appear and how he ended up in custody?
I've been having a question. I missed it down. I stayed for 2 months on my decision. And I got back here and I turned myself in when I thought.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, thank you. Do you want me to?
If you had any information you wanted to provide about the missed appearance, I'm happy to hear it. If not, we'll hear from Attorney Smith.
Oops, sorry. Mr. Clark has indicated that he missed one of the appearances because he was at his sister's funeral. And he also is experiencing, as you maybe can see, medical issues, it looks like, which also led to a missed appearance. And then I think it's important for the court to know that he also turned himself in on the warrant. And with that, I'll turn it over to Attorney Smith.
Okay, and Attorney Smith, your position on bail?
Yeah, I'm not unsympathetic to any of those issues. I think the only noteworthy thing from the state's perspective is I don't have any record of any noticed or anything requesting I believe it was a status conference in Branch 8 on November 20th that he failed to appear for. But with that, I don't really have a position. I defer to the court on whether cash is necessary or the reinstatement of a signature bond.
Well, he's been out on the warrant for a while. I'll take his representation that he turned himself in Monroe County. That's where they picked him up. And looking at the case, it looks like there was a non-appearance. I'm not sure that he actually had notice of that back in June of 2025, and then he ended up posting a couple $100 bail and was at the initial appearance. I'll give you another opportunity on a signature bond, Mr. Clark, with the prior conditions. You got to keep on top of these court dates, and if there's something that comes up, get a hold of Attorney Dickey. She's right in the back of the courtroom there. So maybe she can avoid a warrant being issued. And if you need to sign up for text message reminders or whatever, ask the court aides about that.
I won't miss another one.
All right. Well, we are adjourned.
Good luck.
This way. Next is Tyrone Flowers.
Oh, so on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus Tyrone Flowers is 26 CF 205 appearances.
Sam Smith for the state.
But very really quickly, so this is a criminal complaint, housing village to how this yeah, that's right.
It's okay,
Do you want to have a? Do you want to?
He's got a DOC hold if that
Okay.
makes a difference.
Yeah. So you want to care of Dane County Jail?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Flowers appears in custody in person alongside certified student attorney Ilea Anderson, practicing under the license of attorney Brittany Dickey. We have received a copy of the criminal complaint. We waive its formal reading and stand as to any misdemeanor charges. I don't have any information about Mr. Flowers's eligibility. And then we're gonna update the mailing address to the Dane County Jail.
Yep, and Mr. Flowers, if you get released before this case is concluded, just make sure you let your lawyer know where you want mail sent. They've given you the public defender information. If you're not able to hire an attorney on your own, give them a call. It's a free call from the jail, and you might be eligible for one at little or no expense to you, okay? I'll make a finding of probable cause, state's position on bail.
State's requesting a signature bond, no contact with each of the co-defendants, and that he not consume or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
Any objections?
No objections except for my boilerplate one that it's already illegal.
All right. I'll order a signature bond. Conditions will be you have no contact, direct or indirect, with your named co-defendants, and that you not use or possess controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. And did we schedule prelims with the other gentleman?
one of the co-defendants today waived time limits and the other did not.
Okay, you'd have the right to have a prelim in the next 20 days if you want, and if you do, I guess we'll schedule it with the other co-defendant who wanted a prelim. In the time limits.
You do want it within 10 days? No, that's okay, if you want it. Do you want an attorney for him? But you don't have an attorney right now, do you?
Oh, I called the defender's office today.
But they might not appoint you for a while. Like, it might take a little bit to get you an attorney, so that's why they're asking whether or not you want to keep those 10 months.
Well, I'm gonna keep.
Okay.
The kids out.
All right. No, we got it, okay, we'll keep them, thank you.
Okay, we are, what?
No, sorry, so that means that I still get a preliminary hearing within 20 days, right?
Yep, we're scheduling it within the 20 days and you gotta get a lawyer. It's not gonna, it's gonna come around quick, okay?
All right, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
good luck.
Take care.
Yep, thank you.
Everyone,